this panel here with holes in it, and in reality I don't want, when I'm riding the bike, it to be throwing rubbish up through there. So what I'm going to do is to try and make a hugger out of some sheet plastic. I'm not sure if this will work out or not, but I bought a big sheet of black plastic. I'll take these plates off and I'll see if I can fashion something that protects the electrics, but actually you can't really see. Got a sheet of plastic. It's a modelling plastic and it's supposed to be 3mm, although it looks and feels a little bit more like 4mm to me. It's thermoset plastic, so it should have some sort of bend in it, and if I heat it up I should be able to shape it and keep it like that. I'm going to use it something like that. I intend to just cut it basically to this shape and then curve it up behind that and then curving to be underneath that. Not quite sure how this will work out, but hey, let's give it our best shot. My thinking here is this is actually quite tight in the frame, so I'm actually going to make it so that there's a little bit of clearance on the side of this plastic, and I'm going to run it straight up till it reaches the width of this plate. This will fit through inside the frame, but this bit is actually going to be pretty much in open air, and I can always trim it back later. So I'm going to make a mark like that, I think, and then straight here, cut it off. I can always tidy it up afterwards, or I can always buy a new piece. Hopefully this will work out okay first time, but I've never done this before, so you never know. Plastic will probably shatter. I'm going to do one side first so that I can overlap it when I measure for the other side. This will be interesting to see how this cuts. So like I said, I'm going to go straight to this plate, so it's important I get that in the middle as well. So I'll do a little bit of faffing around, make sure it's square there. That's going to go probably like that, so it touches it. Remember, this bit's going to come over the top of here, and I'm going to mark it, I think, with just a Sharpie or a sharp point. I'm going to do that and I'll let you see how I get on. I'm going to try and cut this with a box cutter blade. The ubiquitous Stanley knife. And I'm going to put a brand new blade in. Oh, no spare expense. That blade's still in good nick, so I'll probably hang on to it. You know what it's like, you have lots and lots of old blades. I'm not going to use one of those snap-off ones. for the simple fact I think this needs a little bit of rigidity to it. Let's see if this works. Already going off. Could do with something to clamp this really. I'm not overly convinced this will work. I might have to saw it. It's making its way through. Put a couple of boards to just give me a lift up from the table, and now I've got the line to follow. I'm just going to follow it down with the blade like this, just gently. Let's not get carried away. Needs a bit of tidying up, but I don't think that's too bad. So I've got this side done, and this will go on something like that. And my intention is to do the other side so that I actually have a little bit of clearance like that. So now I need to mark the other side up. One of the thoughts is to use this as a stencil, at least for the corners. So what I could do is perhaps move that across, and then use that like that, and just put the corners in, and then mark it up with a ruler. I'm going to fiddle about with that for a little while, so I'll turn the camera off now. I'll put a faint line on now, so I can put this over the top, make sure it's all nice and lined up at the end, and just check that it does cover and still have some space. And I think that's pretty good. The same there. Now, I think I'm going to end up with about 2 or 3 mil on either side. That's fine, as long as it fits. If I make it too big first off, when you're trimming it becomes a bit soul destroying because you always seem to have to keep going back and back to it. Equally though, I don't want to make it far too small. I think my lines at the moment are pretty good. I'm going to cut to that and see if it fits. And that's how it came out. It's not quite symmetrical, but my maths skill was so poor that hardly surprises me. Well, I think it is okay. Let's see how it fits. Now it's got to go over the brackets here. So let's just see. Now, I think I am going to be thrilled with that. I need to trim it a little bit at this end, just so it'll pop up, but I think that will really do the job. Now with this plating, it actually will work absolutely brilliantly. So I just need to drill it so I can put the holes through and trim this end. Making sure that the holes I'm going to drill actually line up with this plate. So I'm going to drill them, and then I'll mark from the plate so that the bolts will go through. But because I've got to get them all to line up, I'm going to drill the bottom ones first, put bolts through to hold it really steady, and then do the top ones. Should work out fine. That's looking good. I actually cut these to length to fit before, and I've measured this is something like 3.7mm. I'm probably going to have to get longer screws now to hold it onto the actual bike itself. But I've bolted it on. I'm going to use that to make sure these are in exactly the right place. One done. And that's the other done. It's got on really well. They had to do a little bit of shaping. I actually used the grinding wheel for that. It's not the prettiest thing, but it certainly will do the job. However, I get to this point and I start to get concerned that there might not be enough room here with this metal plate, which I didn't actually design. If you look on the other side, it's been cut out for the chain, but I'm not convinced there's going to be enough room on this side. I won't know until I put it back on its wheels, so I'm not going to worry about it for the moment. Obviously the person who originally designed it thought it would work. I'm really thrilled with how that worked out for this mudguard at the back. I know it's a bit drawn out the way that I did it, but I thought that might be useful, because sometimes you just wonder how you're going to protect your electrics at the back end of your bike, and this is virtually invisible. The next video I'll probably put out will probably be the M unit, but as I've mentioned before, I'm going to have to put some more bits in at the back so that I don't need to then move wiring if I put it in now when I do put them in. Things like the oil tank. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already, do subscribe and give us a like if you can. We really appreciate all the feedback that we get from people that follow along with our videos. And we've got some really exciting things we're going to do with this bike. Can't wait for the rain to stop as well. Goodbye.